welcome back to, what episode are we on?
10.
Episode 10 of the Melly Show. First of all, how was your weekend, Dad? Oh, also, hang on. First, let me introduce, do we have a camera on both of them right now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a special guest today.
Yes, he's
Thank you for
special.
joining us.
Special, really special.
Thank you for joining us today. But first, let's start with you, Dad. How was your week?
Week was good. Week was good. Week was busy. You know, I'm drawing a blank right now. What did I do this week?
I don't even know, because I was just talking to someone the other day, and I think people have this illusion that we spend so much time together because we live together, and I actually never see you. So I have no idea. You tell me. This weekend, you had a tournament, right? I mean, you were gone
We had
Saturday.
a cross training.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a cross. No, that went really, really good.
Sunday. I saw you late on Sunday.
Oh, no, here's what happened. So I've been running hard. We do the cross training, which thank God was in Brighton, and it turned out really good. But I'm thinking, I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. Your mom went up north. I'm going to sleep in tomorrow. This is going to be fucking awesome. And then Megan's like, yeah, I'm going to pick up my dog. And she's driving halfway to Pennsylvania at 4 a.m. by herself, right? Which I know she can do. For the record, everybody, I know she's a full-grown adult now and she can do it. But what dad is going to let their daughter drive 4 hours?
I wouldn't.
Right.
No.
I mean, I'm just not going to do that. And so when she was like, I got this, and she was being cool about it, but she was a little annoyed. I just told her, honey, said, please just do it for me. Like, it's a favor for me. It'll make me happy if I can go with you and feel like I'm taken care of. And she's like, okay.
I asked
and that's
her
what's
too.
good about Megan is she does submit to some of that stuff when she didn't have to.
This is the Melly Show. We're not going to bring Megan into this.
So, because like she loves to like listen to music, and she literally just wanted to sit in the car alone and jam for 6 hours round
can drive
trip.
the
We did that, by the way.
I'm sure. I think you.
Yeah, I was
probably,
going to take the truck anyways,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, sweet.
Well, how was your week, Kevin?
My week's been a blur. We've been busy. We got lots of stuff going on. It's just business has been up and down. Now all of a sudden it's ramped up and
That's awesome.
lots of crazy. So we had a bunch of stuff happen on the Facebook appointments thing we didn't even know that we had.
Yeah.
So I got people like reaching out and booking appointments because Facebook thought we should do appointments.
isn't that funny? I hit the wrong button and turn shit on.
Yeah, we were like, we never even turned it off, turned it on. So we had to research like, oh, hey, we got all these people that want to talk to you. What do they want to talk to you about? You can't even configure the web forms. So that was what our week is. And
I
here
can
it is
help you with
Thursday.
molding that. There are some cool forms, but they're just.
I
a pain in the
received a
ass.
really cool text from Jason like 8 a.m. this morning. I think that you had a huge boost in your Repair Reckoning
I
shop.
think we're like 1.2 million now.
Yeah, it was like
Views.
at the time it was 830,000 that you messaged me because you
Total
guys have been
channel?
working.
That's
How long
amazing.
have you guys been doing that specific podcast?
About a year and some change now, right?
Really?
Repair shop reckoning.
That's new.
That's less than.
Oh, I thought it meant the podcast.
That's like 6 months, right?
No.
Tops.
Specifically,
About 7 months.
so obviously,
Yeah,
Kevin, for those of you who don't know, tell us a little bit about what you do and then what your podcast is
I own
about.
2 shops, and I decided one day that like there's a lot of lacking information in our business.
No, that's wrong. He fucking insults other shop owners and shows them what fucking retards they are.
Okay.
And it makes them super popular, and people get fucking mad, and then they turn out to figure out he's right.
But he doesn't say
And I
it
hate
nice
to admit
enough,
that because
right?
his fucking head's already as big as it could be. But
Yeah,
he
right.
is
I'm the
right.
most humble guy around.
Yeah, humble is definitely not your definition.
Wow. This is my best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But he's always
again,
so reserved when he gives us like I feel like Denny Crane and Alan Shore on Boston Legal.
Denny Crane.
You guys are absurd. Anyways, you guys have known each other for a long time. So who wants to start? Tell us how you guys met. Just
I
a
did it
little bit
last
about
time.
that.
He can talk this time.
His dad's best friend was Big Tom. This is the quick and nasty. Big Tom's son is Little Tommy, Tommy 2. So I started going out to the farm from my dad's friend at work, Tracy Bruce. Her dad was Chuck Bruce. Tracy Bruce said, hey, come out to the farm, go ride. And I came out to the farm, went riding. Back then, they would let you work if you wanted to ride horses. So I'd work all day at night. We have to ride horses. And I was there probably about a year and a half. And I remember Tommy going, hey, this kid's coming over. I need you to take you under his wing and take care of him, make sure he doesn't hurt himself. He hasn't been around this stuff. And then here comes Shane. And
Hobbling in.
no, we got along pretty good from the first part because we both were like little assholes with big mouths, basically. I mean, that sums it up. So we used to get in some deep shit. And
I'm sure I don't even know half of it.
no, but we were young. When we were young, we didn't have we couldn't drive, obviously, unless we boosted a car in the middle of the night and drove up to McDonald's.
Which we may or may not have done.
Yeah, I would never say we did. But and earlier, before we realized that people left keys in their cars around the farm, we would drive the tractor up to McDonald's. Remember?
Now, mind you guys grew up in the Novi area, and so that was like where 12 Oaks, not specifically the farm itself wasn't where 12 Oaks is, but I think that's where the McDonald's was.
No,
we're in that area.
But you got to understand, there was nothing there.
Well, yeah,
there was
that's
the
the
mall,
point.
brand
Yeah.
new. There was Bates Hamburgers.
Yeah.
And then in Wixom, there was the McDonald's, and everything else was fucking
Truck
fields.
stop behind.
And the truck stop.
The
next to
76
the
truck
McDonald's
stop. Yeah,
on the other side.
there was no mobile there, no Taco Bell at Wixom and Grand River. So we would just ride over there. And then we upgraded. I got a 3-wheeler. We used to get up early in the morning and ride the 3-wheeler all the way from the farm to McDonald's to get breakfast and
up
stuff
to that
like that.
point, I had a dirt bike, and I used to ride a dirt bike every single day, 2 hours a day. Like I was, we were both into like running equipment and shit. We could run it.
Yeah.
There's nothing we haven't driven.
No, that
He's
was
probably driven a little more than me because he was in the diesel stuff, but you know.
No, that was just fun. I mean, so we became friends, and we grew apart for a few years. We had a fight. I don't honestly. It doesn't even matter anymore. But
I don't remember.
I think your dad was being a dick, probably, or I was being a dick. I don't know. But we didn't talk for a couple of years, and I kind of went my way. He went his way. Then we reconnected. Basically, I think your mom called me about our car. When you guys
I
lived
came in
the
there
house.
with someone. Somebody went in with a car, and I happened to just be there dropping them off for talking. I can't remember what it was. I walked into the bay door, and it was like nothing happened. And
Yeah.
we just said, hey, we just kind of ignored it.
Yep, and then we just kind of talked, and then we've been friends ever since. We did Storm for what? That blows my mind when I look at the time we spent there, but it doesn't really seem like we spent that much time.
No.
there.
16, 17, 18, and the 19 COVID hit. So
Yeah.
3.5 years.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I
3 years probably, actually.
For 3.5 years, we all saw each other near every single day for
Right.
several hours.
Which
and
is
then
crazy.
Dinner after, this is the first version of Storm. And oh my gosh, I actually miss those days so much. And then like, we're all very different people who have lots of opinions. So like we didn't always all get along all the time, but it never mattered because at the end of the day, we all ate food together and just bullshitted about the annoying things that we had to deal with that day. And I value that so much, and it makes I just love it. That was awesome.
No, it was great because like when Lincoln and Megan got their black belts,
Yeah.
I remember Lincoln like coming over and hugging me and crying and hugging you and
Oh, we
crying.
fucking made him earn them.
And
too.
it was just, and yeah, we don't give shit away. I mean, then we did the, then we did this jujitsu, and that was fun. I mean,
That was really
that
cool.
was a great 3.5 years. I mean, I look at it now, and it was tiring.
Well, correct me. You had that jiu-jitsu program that was from James Gray. That's where you had your rank.
Yeah.
But you were number 1 in kids at Naga and number 2 in overall. Right?
Not Naga. We did Fuji and
But you had significant numbers in terms of wins with the small team. Well, the young team.
Yeah.
It was kind of a big team actually.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our people were either competing athletically or competitively in Taekwondo, or they were competing in jiu-jitsu, and some were doing both.
Yeah, it was Fuji and what's the other one? The red and black. I don't remember. Or orange and black.
I would just go and cheer. I didn't know what was going on.
And we did that, and you're right. I mean, quite frankly, it was pretty hard on us. Like I understood what James used to say. People would give him a hard time because he didn't wasn't ranked through somebody, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie or any of them. And I kind of got mine through there. So they thought we were a joke until we started beating them. As a matter of fact, we had one teacher come up to us. I think this was probably our 3rd tournament, and we were kicking ass. And he came up and he said, "Hey, where'd you get your black belt?" I said, "I don't have a black belt." "You don't?" And I said, "No, I'm a blue belt." "You have a blue belt and you have a school?" I said, "Well, we're kicking your ass, so I don't know why you're over here, asking me why I have a blue belt."
Yeah.
Your kid's getting an armbar right there, And,
I think people are so quick to immediately attack someone who isn't credible. And then you wonder, like, where does that credibility really come from? Well, it's all man-made, and you don't have to have learned through a specific way or from a specific instructor to in any area of life to be successful.
I would
mean,
agree with
especially
that.
with your business. Didn't you teach yourself pretty much everything you know about specifically diesel mechanics, which is not easy?
Yeah, I had a lot of people over the years and stuff like that. And one of the main things I say in my podcast is you could be a great diesel mechanic and a shitty business owner because you're wasting 2 jobs, kind of like any business.
Same with
Any
Taekwondo.
business.
You got great instructors, great athletes. A high-level athlete isn't necessarily a good coach. And
Agreed.
either one of those doesn't mean they can run a school.
No, I agree with that. And that was kind of one of the things that how I got into consulting, helping people. And, back to the jiu-jitsu thing.
Is that what you call your podcast?
What's that?
Consults?
Repair Shop Reckoning.
But Never mind. Sorry.
So consulting.
You guys are going to have to go actually watch the videos because then you'll understand why that's funny.
So
Consulting.
yeah, but I guess I'm missing it. She's way more intelligent than us, right?
Just telling me last week how you actually just take clips and you basically piss people off to make them go look at it. And so it's
It
just
works.
funny.
It works.
It works. It works.
But
They're
you have to back it up,
Yeah.
and he backs it up. That's like I said.
Yeah.
You do
know?
consult. I'm not laughing at the
Yeah.
fact that
Oh,
you don't
yeah, yeah.
consult, but the
Yeah.
way it's just funny.
I
It
mean,
just cracks me up.
what I realized, your dad said something really interesting when you just talked about Taekwondo. This is a clown's game. You're a clown if you do, and you're a clown if you don't.
Yeah.
That's a true statement. Like, I could literally say anything that's 100% right, and there's always some butthole on the other end of a
Yeah.
keyboard telling me how wrong I am from his mom's basement, who's never even ran a shop. The biggest one right now is bringing your own parts. They don't let people bring their own parts.
Yeah.
And these guys consumers are getting on her. I would never go to a shop that won't let me bring my own parts. Good. Don't come to my shop because I'm not going to sit there and let you bring your own parts because you're cheap. That's basically what it all amounts
it's more
to.
than that.
And that pisses people off, but
Right.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true because you're a successful business person, specifically in this field, who understands that is a gate to prevent you and your team from doing your job effectively and well.
Well, that's the point
Getting
they don't
sued.
get. At the end of the day, you're helping the customer because the parts don't last. So they're going to pay all that money to put a part that's going to fail, and guess who they blame? They blame the guy that put the part in.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with him. So he's firewalling that whole thing. It's just like when people give me art in the print shop. Well, just print it. I don't care if it's blurry. No, I'm not fucking printing it. Why? Because one day someone's going to ask where it was made. You're going to say it was me, and they're going to think I print shitty art. Like, I'm not printing your shitty
That
art.
happens to Mom
And they're
all
like,
the
you won't take
time.
my money? I'm like, nope, won't take the money.
We just had a motorhome guy came in, a chunk missing out of this motorhome. It's probably a $400,000 motorhome.
Mm-hmm.
Chunk missing out of the bumper. Well, we were going to custom make the bumper and do all this. It was going to be like $7,000. And I called the guy. I go, that's a lot of money. I said, well, I just need you to patch it. I'm not patching it. Well, I got a guy that's going to do it down the street for me for $3,000.
Great.
Let him do it because I am not going to go ahead and patch something with my
Yeah.
name, Motor City Truck Collision, on it. And you're at the campground and everybody goes, man, where'd you get your bumper fixed? Motor City Truck Collision. He's going to leave the part out where he said, I'm too cheap. I want him to do a shitty job. He did a shitty job. So I'm just like, he's not going to deal with it. So we let him leave.
100%.
And he said,
in all of life. So particularly, like, we were talking on our way here, and I think people disguise what respect really is for another human being, and it's not always being kind, because what people need to hear isn't always what they want to hear. If you're willing to lie to someone and be like, oh yeah, no, that's a great idea,
It's a cop-out.
you don't respect them. You actually just it's
the
actually
easy way
selfish.
out. Yeah.
It's selfish all around to lie to another person
Right.
to savor their feelings, and that is a mean take too. Sorry. Facts don't care about your feelings. Not that everything is a fact, but if I see something, like I was telling Dad, if I see someone going down a path that I understand where it's leading, rather than telling them don't do that, just be like, you actually don't deserve the end result. What's going to happen to you if you continue doing this, you don't deserve that. And it just changes the way that you're phrasing it, because it's not me trying to be mean to that person. It's me telling them, like, you're going down. And if I didn't respect you, I wouldn't tell you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you.
Totally agree. I was telling, I think I told Jason the other day, telling the truth now is labeled as being rude.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell somebody the truth, all of a sudden you're rude.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just telling you the truth. You don't want to hear what I have to say. Is what it all amounts to.
But if you track people from other countries, I even had a Russian lady tell me one time, we're just rude. We're just are. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, we don't care about making things sound good. We just tell you what we think. Plus, there's a translation, right? So a lot of times they're translating their words anyways.
And that happens
right?
both ways too.
Right, where it happens both ways. But she's like, we just don't care to make more out of it than what it is. And they're okay with hearing. The thing is, they grew up in that culture, hearing it. Like, who has the grandma that my aunts? So like, yeah, my mom would just tell us we're fat. Right? I mean, that's what they did. She thought she was helping them. They were very, very blunt. Their self-esteem was strong enough to handle it, right? Because there was other things they did that had good self-esteem. But now you got these people with this really fragile self-esteem. They say you shouldn't be. And I'm not saying you call people fat, but the point is, you can't handle rough words. You can't handle words that could possibly
And what
shock
also
you,
matters is the intent. The intent of that woman calling you fat isn't to make you feel bad about yourself. It's to tell you, hey, you should probably eat a little healthier in a roundabout way that again, like our world is so divisive, and it's so me versus you that, oh, really? You think I'm fat? So you're just me.
Well,
You're
don't
just a mean
forget, too.
Why would I listen to anything else you have to say? Because of your intent.
But
we talked about that too.
immigrants translate words.
Yeah.
So my grandma just had the nearest word
Yeah.
that she had. So when she's saying that, I had an athlete whose mother was from Soviet Union,
Yeah.
that area, and she was born here. So I had to explain to her mom that when you use the word fat, you might as well be like calling someone a racist slur.
To a teenage
To
girl.
a teenage girl that's an American
going
girl.
through
Right. But in her
lot.
mind, she was just converting the word to just try to more quickly explain what she's saying. But I explained to her, you can't do that. It's not, especially over and over again to your own daughter. You have to,
Yeah.
because she took it wrong, So
Yeah.
it does happen, But
Yeah.
but we also have to have enough self-esteem to handle poor words. Like, he doesn't shock me how he talks. When people talk to me like Kevin will talk to somebody, it does. In fact, I'm amused. I get into the game. I'll debate. I'll argue. Right. But when I see him talk to certain people and it just blows up, I'm like, oh God, this is not going to end well, because I see them melt the second he starts. And if he gets a couple of sentences in and he starts to add context, oh, okay, not so bad. But if you melt down in the first exchange,
Yeah, let's face it. Neither one of us are sensitive tiptoers around telling
No.
people what's up. And the worst thing you could probably ask me is what do you think?
Okay, yeah, actually, so true. But hang
I've had
on,
that burned me recently.
so the topic, and I know that you said you only have 30 minutes with us. Is that still true? Can you keep going?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay, because the topic of today that we settled on was going to be like father-daughter relationships in general. And so you guys both have, well, you have 2 daughters, you have 2 daughters,
Yep.
right? You have so many kids. But so how do you think women are more sensitive in nature? So how do you think that your personalities helped shape your daughters specifically to be the successful individuals they are? Because all of us are highly successful, still sensitive to other people, but we don't listen to the way you say things and take it quite to heart. Maybe initially we do, but long term we understand. And I'm not speaking for your daughters, but I feel like you can.
well, she was just
kinda
explaining this
see
to
what
me on the
I'm-
way here about how she kind of figured out that.
Okay, so the point is, you piss me off all the time. Our personalities are very similar, but what I can rely on is I know for a fact, first of all, you're highly consistent. I would agree with you too. There's a reason you guys are friends. You're highly consistent. Even if I don't like what you tell me, eventually I understand why. And you used to tell me that all the time. And I was like, fuck you, I'll never understand. I actually don't want to understand. Fuck you. But actually I do. And it took time, but then you kind of piece it in, especially when you see the world on your own when you're not with your dad.
Mhm.
But with that in mind, how do you think your personality specifically helped shape your daughters to be who they are today?
I'll start this one. First of all, I have to kind of give a little context here. I'll preface this whole thing. So your dad understands me. So like when we talk back and forth, if he says something to me, sometimes if it pisses me off, I'll call him back in 45 minutes because I have an audio-visual memory. I'll run this conversation through my head 85 times. I'll pull each word out and I'll talk about
like
it.
a woman. Go ahead.
Yep, pretty much. And I'll call him back and I'll say, these are the kinds, boom, 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 boom. And you did it to me the other day. You said, hey, I know what I said, and this is what I said when I remember what we were talking about. We're not going to bring that all up. But we do that back and forth, right? Now, going forward, I was hard on Jordan and Cooper both when they're growing up. Now, as we all know, Cooper and Jordan are complete opposites.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper is loud, obnoxious. She's more like me. Jordan's kind, calm.
Marilyn.
Yeah. And I don't know about, well, calm, kind. My wife's mean to me.
You blame her? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I raised them both the same way. Cooper handles herself great out in the real world because she's in a shitty business, a realtor. I mean, there's a lot of douchebag realtors, and I'll probably get in trouble for that, but it's just the way it is. So they're douchebag realtors. Jordan really had to learn going into the medical profession how doctors act and treat nurses like shit and stuff like that. So that was a big eye opener. So Jordan had a little bit more of a sheltered outlook. Like her first job was at Beaumont Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's going to be a great place for you. And she really learned about people and how different people act and stuff like that. So as far as me raising them, they're both strong, but I didn't change it, but they sure did turn out completely different. That I guess that's kind of where I kind of went with that.
Yeah, well, God gives us all a different talent or strength, and it's why not every woman has the same kind of job or the same skills. So, but I mean, I would consider your daughters highly successful, and the people they chose, I really like them. You know, and that is a direct reflection of the kind of father the father figure, and I'll say that because not everyone has a father, but a father figure that they have in your life, or the lack thereof, right?
I would agree.
How do you want to?
So you've already explained how.
Yeah.
How so we've covered in the podcast.
Did you think about that growing, like when you were raising us? I don't want to put you off what you're saying, but I kind of want to hear your answer.
No,
as well.
I've always been consistent, and one thing that you pointed out is you don't doubt that I love you and I have all, but I won't. Just to summarize it, I always felt and thought it's more important to be your father before your friend.
I agree.
That's the thing. So, and eventually the rest of it happens. So I'm like, you're not going to, and you see it with Pete even more because we've had more interact. Like he took longer to comply with some of the things, right? But I would just tell him, like, I don't care how mad you are. It's just is not happening. You'll understand later. Like I said, one day you'll figure it out.
By the way, there are also things that I understand, but understand that you did wrong.
Yeah,
so
of
not
course.
everything that you did was right.
And I'm always clear. I've always told you I do the best I can.
Wrong?
Can you imagine
Well,
that? Can you believe it?
Let me qualify that. I would even tell you guys, I might even get it wrong, but I'm doing the best that I know how.
And also something that you and mom would say, in addition to that, yes, you guys would do the best that you knew how, but you guys always said, both of you consistently, you will not like some of the things that I do as a parent, but you get to make a decision on how you want to parent your kids. And you should take the best of both of us and get rid of what you don't like.
Always said that. And I've told you that. I've told Cassie that. I've told everybody in the
person
family
that you're
would
a father
listen.
figure too. Also, people who have fathers.
Yeah.
Not that they don't like you. It's not. It takes a community. You don't. You're a father figure to me too. I don't think we really think about it like that, but you are.
All right.
You're another consistent father figure in my life who has helped. If I came to you, I know for a fact that you're going to tell me exactly what I need to hear in that moment, and that you will also fight if I ask you, "Hey, I need this from you. I need your help."
And he knows I won't be upset.
And that's good to know.
And he knows I won't be upset.
Especially if he wasn't here.
Right.
No, I've yelled at Peter several times.
What would Shane say? Hey, Kevin. What would Shane say?
No, Peter, I remember one time at the Taekwondo school, Peter was just being an asshole to Megan. She came in the office crying. I walked out there, and I'm like, Peter, this is not the time or the place to freaking give your sister a hard time. Do it at home. We have customers here. And he said something smart, and I smacked him in the back of the head, and he got teary-eyed. And I said, no, go tell your dad what happened. He's like, no. Because he would have went to his dad and said, Kevin slapped me. Shane would have been like, oh my God. Shane would be like, what did you do? You know, that's the bottom line.
Don't do that again.
And I agree with you. Like, you can call any of my kids up. My kids are always like, he always used to tell us, I'm your dad, but I'm not going to be your friend. I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. And I'm going to stick to my guns. And I always have. And I think that I'm getting ready someday when I'm dead and gone, they're going to know what to do with their kids. That's the bottom line. And I just actually told Lincoln that the other day. Lincoln's very, very nice, but he's a little smart ass sometimes to me.
I know.
And I jack his shit.
Oh my gosh. Wait, let me find my surprise face.
You know my favorite, what the best example of this is? Best example. These phones come out, the very first picture phone, right? And there's a picture of Lincoln with all the kids in their Halloween outfits at Gus's.
Yep.
Right?
Your house would have popped
and Lacey goes, she goes, holy shit. She goes, what? And if you look carefully, Lincoln's like this in the photo.
He's dressed as a Joker.
So Lisa texts him, or somebody texts you, and you're like, he took the picture down after that. But that was Lincoln. Like he was always the little shit.
Yeah, but again, like a kind kid
he's a
who has he's just hilarious and just fun to be around. Like, yeah.
You know, the daughter thing, we were talking about this, and I want to bring this up. So I have this young lady, she's 20-something, she's college age, and she came to me to the school, and it was a kind of a crazy story. She came in with a million questions, didn't trust anything I told her, wanted to do every single martial arts. I want swords, I want this, and I want that. And I was like, why? Well, first of all, my dad abused me. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, and I was with my mom, and my mom would never let me do martial arts. She would only let me do other sports, and Muslim family too, on top of it all, right? So very protective. And so she goes, so the second I turned 18, it took her like a year or so to get to, she goes, I want to do every martial art because now that I'm an adult, I'm going to do it. Okay, so I explained to her, I'm like, listen, we only do a couple things really, really well. So if you want to fight, I can help you do that. We'll put you right in the team program and get you going. So anyway, long story short, she just challenged and worried and concerned. And I finally said, listen, I said, you either need to get with the program or not. Don't carry their way. We'll take good care of you, but stop. You just got to stop. Trust the program. So we developed a relationship. And so now I realize she doesn't have a father figure and she doesn't get along with her mom. So I was just talking to her the other day and she came in. Now she just drops in. She goes to college now. I don't even charge her. She just drops in and trains once a week or twice a month. I don't even care, right? Great girl. I'm just happy that she comes in and she's happy because she's a stress case. So she was talking to me, talking about how happy she was, how, great to see you. And then something just clicked. I realized that this girl has no male figure that she can just give a hug to where that male figure doesn't expect something from her.
It's a shame.
Think about that. Because any male figure now at her age is thinking she wants a relationship or whatever, right? But she just doesn't have that male figure that she can just pile up and give a hug and have zero expectations or like sexual attachment to, right? Like just a safe place. I'm 52 years old. It never occurred to me. That's the equivalent. That is what daddy issues are, right? Never even thought out that she never have the benefit where even you at your age, the few times even now when you just come in the living room and fall on top of me and lay down and we hug, it's the greatest thing ever, right? She will never have that.
No, that's a good point.
That is a terrible thing. So think about, that's the difference between what I think young ladies need, because it's proven now. I mean, they're going from your love and your support out of the house, hopefully into their husbands or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
and people find, like, women will find people, boys, I won't even call them men necessarily, because they might find someone crappy, but it's usually to mirror how their dad treated them. So however you treat however you treat your daughter, like, just understand that that's exactly what she's going to go and find. If you're inconsistent, she's going to find an inconsistent guy.
Right.
And that's just kind of true. And also not just because, like, it's what they're used to, but you feel like that's what you deserve. Why would you want any better if you were treated like shit your whole life?
Well, I asked you when you're about 16 years old, I'm like, I know guys are trying to date you. I'm just shocked that you haven't talked more about dating. And you told me, Dad, I already feel loved at home. I don't really need a guy. I remember you telling me that. And that was one of the coolest things.
I don't even remember that.
It was one of the coolest things. You told me that you were 15 or 16 years old. And you said, like, why? I feel loved here. I don't need to be
date. Fair, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, and then all my extracurricular time was spent at Taekwondo.
That's good.
So I really didn't get out. Yeah,
but you weren't hunting.
Mind it.
But you weren't hunting for attention.
No.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Absolutely not.
Because that's what you want. Is you want attention. That's how that starts, right?
Yeah. For sure. But the other thing too is, like, honestly, as much as you thought I always had gotten approached by a bunch of guys, and that I really couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not a quiet, subtle woman.
You scared them.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. And because I was raised with, not that other people aren't raised with the standards, but whatever. Like, I've thought about it, and I was actually reading a little bit more in the Bible, and God will present the person that is meant for you at the right time. And no one even had the balls to come and approach me, and that's not my fucking problem.
That's true.
That's not my problem. Like, my job is to make myself better so that when I do find a husband, first of all, like, I love my family first. There's a book that I read about, like, the theology of her body. Find your bridesmaids first. If you don't have a community of people you can rely on and trust, you shouldn't be looking for a husband. Right. And then the next thing is basically, like, if someone doesn't have the balls to come up to me and actually introduce themselves to me and ask for my number, why do I want to be with them?
Right. I agree.
Why would I want that? And why would I want someone that I have to chase?
And then when Megan, the one time had somebody that wanted to date her come get her, and then I gave him a hard time with the gun in my waistband, and Peter gave him a hard time. Instead of getting upset, you know what she said? She goes, if he can't handle them, he can't, it's no point. Like, she's like, if you can't handle my dad, handle my brother, don't come here.
You can't handle Megan. Like, Megan is a spitfire in and of herself. The fact that kid had the balls to come up and ask her is actually shocking to me. And to be fair, I wasn't very open. So as an oldest daughter, I was always told by you that I'm not going to date until I'm like a certain age, and I really took that to heart. So I didn't even make myself approachable in a way where any guy would want to come up to me. And then I thought that there was something wrong with me because of it. And then I was like, actually, no.
I hinted. I was hoping you wouldn't date. I always used to say,
until you're 20,
no, it's not true. Until you're 21, you can't.
But there is the other extreme, and I literally, like, actually believe that because you told me that from such a young age. But honestly, why would I want to just jump in a relationship? It did help me in the long run. And eventually I understood like what I was supposed to do. And then the kind of like
You're just too immature when you're younger. To be honest,
yeah,
you're just not.
And that's always how I felt too. And men mature slower anyways. So the boys actually that you're around when you're in school are behind you in years. So why would you put up with their bullshit? I kind of support the idea of finding a slightly older man. I'm not saying like old, but and also. I mean, age doesn't really matter, but it kind of fucking matters depending on where you're at on the spectrum because men are just kind of really immature.
So I have to talk to you about, I have to tell a story about meeting Connor for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? You're stuck in the middle of the swamp.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
She calls me and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. She's like, I got a problem. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm stuck in a swamp. I'm like, well, send me a pin. I like, look, I'm like, holy fuck, how'd she get out there?
You're way out.
You're way out. And me and Lincoln jump in my new Razor with the turbo on it. And we cruise over there. And I'm like, always up for a challenge. I'm like, looking. I'm like, how the hell? So I held that thing to the mat. We come across the swamp and it was shooting roosts. Remember that?
Yeah.
And we made it all the way out there, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll hook you up. And he's standing there. I said, you gonna fucking stand there? Or are you gonna hook this thing up? He was like, she's like, oh, that's my Uncle Kevin.
Yeah.
He hooked it up and stuff like that. But he's such a great guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he's one of the few that I meet and automatically like. And there's not very many people, you know me.
He's got an interesting confidence right out of the gate. Like he's not loud.
He's just nice.
But you like I get a lot of people to shut down fast or get nervous fast, and he never really displayed that. And he might have felt it, but he never showed it.
No, he's got a good poker face.
Yeah.
Because I just liked him, and I thought that was funny, And I was like, man.
Normally they would fold and be like, oh, your uncle is mad
and
at you. He's like, you're fucking
I don't even
right.
think you were dating at the time, honestly.
No,
I think
we
he was
weren't.
just like chasing you around,
Mm-hmm.
and then finally you stopped, apparently, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was good, but there's a guy that he's the
handy
perfect.
Too. That guy's a fucking builder.
Yeah, he's perfect for her.
Yeah, he works hard. He's fun. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
like
you can go back to the things with the your daughters. My daughters grew up where my wife would be like, "Hey, we need to get rid of that tree," and 20 minutes later, I'd be out there chopping it down, and they had to get used to their husbands that might take a little bit longer to do stuff. And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like,
I was that guy.
Yeah, your mom's like, "Yeah, you just can't always expect it's going to happen in 5 minutes. That's just how your dad is." And, and that's how you do it. But Jordan, I mean, she's got an awesome husband. She's a great mom, So Cooper's a great mom. So I can't complain anything. They are totally opposite, which is interesting. Being raised completely the same, they're completely opposite, but they're both strong.
Dude, the shit you've done to pin Cooper down, she ran you through the ringer. Like you've chased her through.
Yeah, you know what though? She didn't win.
Well,
you always learn something.
And I'm sure she wouldn't change it for the world either.
She says that all the time. She's like, my God, I don't know where I would have ended up. Because, she came back from college as a disaster. People think sending their kids that are not mature. Here's a perfect example. Your kid graduates from high school, okay, and you send them off to college where there's no supervision. You spend all this money. Now, in today's world, you're not even allowed to ask how their grades are unless you sign a piece of paper.
Yeah, and they're liberal as fuck. They're trying to they're trying to teach them that men are women, and like they're not ready for that pressure.
And these kids, I'm sorry, they're not old enough. I would have to say, if somebody said, what do you think about my kid going to college? I'd say, make them go to community college for a couple of years so they're under your roof till they get a little bit older and more mature. Because I still wouldn't do things that I did 2 years ago today. You're always growing.
Mm-hmm.
We both have done stuff. You're like, I can't believe I just did that, right? Yeah. When you were younger, it's way worse.
Yeah.
There's things I did in my childhood. There's not a way in hell I would do it now.
I can't believe I lived through some of this shit that I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank God there wasn't cameras.
Well, back then we can get allowed. We used to carry buck knives on our side because we'd have to have a big knife at the farm, just for cutting stuff or whatever. And
people would call the cops on you right now.
People would call the cops. Back then we had problems.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Officer Conquest coming up to you at Denny's and ripping your knife out of your holster? Slapped the shit out of you right in Denny's parking lot? And you were just a perfect little angel. I don't know why.
No, I was a smart ass and he slapped me. I was going to tell my dad. My dad would have slapped me if he known I got slapped by a cop. Yeah. Now, cop does that and they sue him. Yeah, but I was being an asshole. I kind of deserved it.
Like that meme that's going on right now, 1960, the teacher calls and they say, what did the kid do? The teacher calls now and the parent says to the teacher, what did you do?
Right.
it's never their kids' fault. And that's where we foster these kids now to act like little assholes that we were never allowed to do,
Right.
or our kids were never allowed to do.
Right.
Because a lot of times if my kids I remember Chuck Morgan used to call all the time, the vice principal on Cooper and stuff, or Bo, and Bo got in a fight one time out of school. They were going to get in a fight. He went to the tennis court over on Bogey Lake Estates, and him and the kid fought. He ended up strangling the kid, choking the kid out till he passed out. The fight was over, like it was back then. They made up the next day, no problem. Somebody had a video,
I remember
took
the
it
video.
to the school, and they suspended him. And Maryland called. I don't know why I didn't talk to him. Maryland, they said that he did not go home first before he went to the school. So he was still under the school's care. So Maryland said, that's cool. If he's going to rob a bank tomorrow, then you can get him a lawyer. Well, that's not how it works. But my point is, back then, kids would fight and they would get better. Now they need counseling. They need this. And sometimes things need to be handled on their own outside. Like we got in fights with kids in school, so it would be over, wouldn't it?
Or you shut your mouth and didn't like you knew you would get beat up too. So
Right.
the other thing is, if you ran your mouth,
Well,
know what
so-
you're gonna do.
So when you guys were in school as kids, was there more men teachers than like what your kids experienced? Would you?
About the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of my favorite teachers were men, believe it or not.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because something that
I'm gay
no.
now.
No, actually, I hated my gym teacher.
have
He
a
was
point.
an asshole.
I have a point with so basically my point is like right now in our world as women are more emotional. That's who most of our teachers are. And without like having women who are teaching your sons, I'm trying to put this in a way that it's not just going to immediately create controversy, but there is.
You want to get clicks. You create controverscy.
Well, she's
Well,
not
it's
trying to piss
controversial
everyone.
just to speak the
Yeah,
truth,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
don't
right,
actually
right.
have to try. But basically, like, why are our young boys being raised by adult women who actually don't understand the mind of a young boy? They were never educated on how that.
True.
We all just talk it out. There's a reason why boys don't really solve a lot by using words, because there's actually a study that's been done and men say like a third or like a fourth of the words that a woman does in the day, because that's how we connect with another woman or another person. You guys bond and correct me because I'm not a guy.
A lot
I
less
don't
words,
get it.
yeah.
You don't use words, you use actions, and sometimes it means beating each other. So honestly, and this is proven because Connor, my fiance, he some of his best friends right now started because they had a disagreement, beat each other up, and now they're best friends and they have been for 20 years.
Pecking order.
But all
Yeah.
the teachers in the schools are like, no, words solve everything. It's not true. It's not true.
But to be fair, back in the day, even the women were more conservative and understood that. Even
Yeah.
the women did, because they grew up in households where they had brothers. But now there's a
And
bigger
strong
divide.
men in the house.
Right, but there's a bigger divide now. Like I got a guy that I know that's at MSU, and he says right now the men have gotten a lot more to the conservative side. And he says women are still really hardcore on the emotional side, which tracks with our minds, right? But there was a time where, like when we screw around at Christmas and start fighting or doing jujitsu in the living room, most moms are like, "Oh, don't fight." Your mom would move the furniture, and she'd be like, "Have at it," right? So here's a woman that was like, "You know what?
Well, that's our whole
boys are going to be
family,
boys, so go ahead and wrestle in the living room at Christmas."
And mind you, us girls did it too.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
all beat each other's butts.
That's true.
At freaking Christmas, we would have wrestling matches, and it was so fun.
Yeah, you and your sister choked out a lot of people, I got to admit.
Yeah.
But
There's nothing better than choking out your brother. Sorry. Actually, okay, we're going to have to insert a little video. There was I was like a year and a half old maybe, and Peter was, no, actually I had to be old. No.
when you choked
yeah.
him at Christmas under the
2
tree.
years old. I was 2 years old and he was 6 months about. And yeah, we were sitting in little Elmo chairs, and it's a joke that from birth I've choked Peter out, and it was I go and try and give him a hug, and I actually choke him out. We're gonna have to
blue.
insert it over.
Yeah, I got that clip.
And then my aunt was there, my aunt Sharon, who I actually just saw today, and she's like, oh, like trying to like save my brother.
That's true.
It started at birth.
You talk
So
about
funny.
women. Jordan, when me and Marilyn told Jordan she was pregnant, Marilyn was pregnant with Lincoln,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan did not acknowledge it till Lincoln was born. Mom would be like, I'm going for my checkup. And that Jordan would not ever admit that Marilyn was pregnant. Ever.
Really?
It's freaking hilarious. Now we laugh. But when the baby came out, she couldn't help it. She started crying and hugged him and held the baby and stuff. But she would not acknowledge.
She's like, no
the
way.
whole project.
Not stealing my thunder.
No.
But people who are too sensitive would be like, oh, my daughter hates my son. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have it. Oh my gosh, my poor No, like you kind of just do it, and then eventually it's,
You're right.
It's probably one of the best things that happened
at that
to her.
point, actually, I just saw a thing because I was talking to some parents recently at Storm, and this one mom was like, I'm trying to, be a nicer parent and do things and make it easier for him and this and that and the other. And I had it hard. And I was kind of trying to carefully let her know why it's important for things to be hard for a kid and, let us kind of handle this stuff. And first day, she was like, I don't know, because he was in the corner with Megan, right? And he's crying. I'm like, he needs to cry. He'll get used to it. He'll make friends. He'll see these instructors as, we're getting ready for school, right? So he'll see these instructors as instructors. You need to let this happen. Otherwise, you're going to drop them off at school and you won't be able to watch it. You're going to have to drop them off. That's my tip. But the thing is I told her later, because I saw this online, it was a really good video, that basically when you're saving your child and making it easy for them, you're stealing their self-esteem and building up your own. You understand? When you're hovering over your child and making everything better, it's for your self-esteem. You are harming their self-esteem because they cannot learn to figure it out. When you and we did it too sometimes, but sometimes we told you stuff like, if you forgot your shit at school, if it was not easy to get, what'd I say? You too bad. They figure it out.
Should have remembered.
Right, should have remembered. Now, sometimes if we couldn't, it was convenient, we would do it. We were practical. We weren't super hardcore, but we didn't care. Well, what happened? Well, the teacher going to be mad. Well,
nobody learns a lesson or changes their way if there isn't a little bit of stress involved. Like nobody, diamonds are made under immense pressure.
That's my point. That builds your self-esteem.
You have to go through that in order to get that end result. And it's how business owners can weather particularly all the ups and downs, because nobody really coddled you, or maybe you were coddled but you just came to realize that that's not helping you or anybody else.
Owning a business is one of the most, if you want to build mental toughness, oh my God.
So here's a good one. If we're talking about this, we'll just talk about how I was raised versus my brothers. Your dad knows all the stories.
I do.
My mom and dad were fucking threw me to the wolves, basically. They're like, yeah, you can handle it himself. My brothers were both coddled. Look at my brothers and look at me. I had to figure the shit out. It's unfortunate, but you know what? Now that I know what I am and who I am, I would not change that for the world, because that made me who I am today. And you know what? Far as none of my kids ever worked in the family business where you guys worked with your dad and your mom, or you were around at the print shop and stuff. Lincoln works at the shop now. And there's been a couple times that I've got on his ass to the point where he's like almost started crying. It's like, you're not going to do that. And he came to me. He's like, I know when you yell at me, it's for my own good. Number one, he said, and I'm going to tell you another thing. I understand why you come home some days over the years so pissed off and hating the world. Mom didn't understand. He's like, he looked at my wife. He's like, you don't understand on a daily basis what this man goes through.
You just said a different version of that to me on the way here. She literally said, I get it now. Like, I didn't get it, but I get it.
I do get it, but we also, I think a lot of people, I have a problem with liars, because if you can't rely on them for even something small, how could you rely on them for something bigger?
If there's something I'm proud we taught you, is your hate for lying.
I just hate it. And I don't hate the person, I hate the action.
Right.
But anyways,
that's true. I mean, I used to lie like a rug as a kid.
Going with that.
Yeah,
I decided I used to lie like a fucking rug, and now I just decided one day I'm going to tell the God honest truth and fuck them all.
Oh yeah. So when if people are liars, they might be lying to themselves. They don't actually. It says way more about them than it does you.
Perception is reality.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and a lot of people spend their whole lives maintaining being a victim, and then they lie about stuff that happens so that they can continue feeding a narrative that they don't actually really believe themselves, but they don't respect themselves enough to actually acknowledge that they're lying and to do something about it. And it's just that's actually a recent revelation. Thank you, that I came to, because it's like it's so easy to hate the person that's lying to you, but actually they need more help than they need Jesus. Really, that's what they need, and they don't even know. But again, you're mean if you say that, right?
I like the new thing that Pete Cristiano said, and there's a big thing. I try to do this now when I'm pissed.
Seek to understand.
Be curious.
Oh yeah.
How did we get here? How do we get, if someone's telling me all this stuff, whether it's I'm an asshole, so I'm like, instead of defending myself, I'm like, let's be curious. How do we get to the point that this person is saying these things that are completely untrue, didn't even happen, but how do we get there? See, if you start stepping through it, it makes better sense and you don't get so mad. And I'm just now doing this because I would be like, well, fuck you. That didn't happen.
But again, he planted that seed in your head like a year ago.
Yeah. And I'm like,
And I've noticed you slowly bringing that up. You're like, oh, maybe
how did
I
we
should
get
just
here?
ask them.
How is it that I'm sitting here right now and they're sitting there right now and we have such a different perspective on reality? And it does help you calm down, helps you reason, and actually helps you in the debate if you're actually having a conversation.
Well, a couple things. When you know better, you do better. So knowing like, hey, it actually is not it's not my fault. People a lot of times will take what others are doing to them, the actions are doing to them, and turn it on to, they just don't like me. It's why they're doing this. Actually, no, it has way more to do with them than anybody else. So when you know, hey, maybe I should seek to understand versus just get angry at the face action that's happening to me, you actually engage in dialogue instead, and not in a way of like, well, why are you treating me like that? Like, actually, like, wait, why do you think that? How did you come to that conclusion? Is there like, because then you can kind of help that person self-realize the patterns they're in. But you have to choose. You constantly have to choose. So one of the books, actually, thank you, Jason, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It talks specifically about the law of hypnotic rhythm. And then it really helps me understand what was it Albert Einstein who said object in motion stays in motion? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what does that really mean? Well, if your life is so sad and you're a victim, how'd you get to that? You have to self-reflect. There is thought processes that at some point entered your mind and you didn't choose to cancel out. And it could be a negative thought like, oh my gosh, I just hate my body. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually it tumbles into, it's their fault I hate my body. It's their fault I don't like this, because an object in motion stays in motion. So if there is a thought process that you don't understand what the end result is of it, and you're not choosing to cancel and stop that, well, that's what a habit is. A habit is a formed thought that at one point you didn't choose to rewire into eventually a habit that you don't decide to engage in.
See, but that's why so many people, and I'm sure you have times of this too, that's why so many people don't actually change till they're at the very, very, very lowest point. It's no different than an alcoholic hitting the bottom. You can do it in life. I can tell you, my dad was dead. I had no money. I got dumped by my girlfriend. Like I had nothing. But the thing was, I came to the conclusion, I really even didn't have anybody to blame. Like it was literally like, and I've said this before, shoot myself or do something. And I wasn't going to shoot myself. Thought about it, actually. I'm sure everybody's at least thought of it once. But I was like, fuck it. So at that point, when you've got nothing left to lose, all your humility is gone. You're not worried about what people think because they've already thought the worst. You've already been, because I had all those judgments. I was like, fuck it. And then without that load, it was so easy being me because I just didn't give a shit. Not that I don't care about people and things. That sounds really bad. But I really couldn't be more embarrassed. I couldn't be more hurt. I couldn't have worse things happen, right? No mom, no dad, no girlfriend, no money, live in a hovel, right? Like, it can't get worse than that.
Yeah, and that's the symbolizing of the phoenix. A lot of people use that because they rose from the ashes after everything was literally burned down around you.
Yeah, I didn't
You
even
can
realize
choose to stay there and squabble among the ashes, or you can rise.
Right.
And what did you do?
You rose. There's 2 points I want to add to this. Number 1, if you want to make your circle smaller, be successful.
And honest.
Your friends that you thought you were friends growing up, they'll fall off. They'll get an attitude towards you. Number 2, I always look in the mirror and say, whose fault is that? It's my fault. I said that to you the other day. Mm-hmm. What did I say to you about that whole thing?
I said,
who do I got to blame, Shane?
At the end of the day,
I said, it's me. It's on me.
Right.
It would have a lot been easier. Well, this happened and that happened. I wasn't doing it. No. At the end of the day, you didn't do it. I didn't do what I was supposed to. So it happened.
On that point, over the last, say 5 years, there were some up and coming coaches in Taekwondo, some guys that had some good athletes that are training well. And we're talking, we're friends, we're together. And that always starts like that. So if they take the environment around them, the coaches around them that are good, have some good kids or think they have good kids, they're super nice, they're super helpful, right? And I told them when I first met them, like, listen, you're doing a great job, kids are doing great, but I promise you the majority of coaches right now that are nice to you will not be nice to you when you start winning. When you start beating them, you watch how not, because they're like, oh, these guys are so nice to me. I'm like, just wait. I told him that. So now, 5 years later, I just had a talk with one of them. He's like, I just told somebody the same advice you told me 4 years ago. And he said, because you were 100% right. I'm literally one of the very few people that still talk to him. You know, his kids be our kids sometimes. I don't care, right? He's a good coach. They're good kids. I love the sport. We're both like that. But the majority of people can't handle it when you start beating them. And that's when your friends fall. It's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in families, right? I mean, I've had people, when they start, and it's their fault, but they start comparing, maybe one calamity with their kids compared to things that happen, or I've even told people, I've had people say, with you especially, you just wait till she's a teenager, you'll understand. She'll do this. And I'm like, no, she won't. I'm telling you right now, you can fucking tell me that, but it will not happen. Number one, I'm handling it early. And number two, you watch me fight the battle. And you've seen me do it, right? Like with everything, like not just with the kids, right? I'm just that resolute. And then when that finally got to that point, they either had to get mad at me, some fell off, and some were like, you know what? I got to admit, you pulled it off, and you know what I'm talking about. And I think it's pretty gracious, that conversation we had with her. Yeah. And her kids are different, but it could happen to us. Everything could happen to us too, right? It doesn't mean that things don't happen, but you certainly don't have to give up.
Mm-hmm. And something I want to add to what you said is that when you're building,
I wanted to pull up this book. Just
when you're building and you're like, okay, now when you're succeeding, those people aren't going to like you. Alternatively, when you're succeeding, people will gravitate towards you, and they're not always going to be there for your best interests. They're only going to want to be there if you're successful.
Right.
And I experienced that personally. So on my way building to winning eventually in Taekwondo, there were people who changed their mind about me or whatever. And then when I was at the top, they would just like basically lick my butt, which I hate that. Right. And then as soon as I was no longer relevant in the Taekwondo world, I was basically chopped liver. You guys know exactly who I'm talking about.
Human nature.
And that is not, it's just not right. You should not treat someone based on the personal success or failure in their life, or based the way you treat them off of that.
No, I know who you're talking about.
On a consistent level, especially when you have nothing to do with their life other than you just see them at tournaments.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But I do have actually tell us what you're looking at.
So remember a long time ago, I had you read that book. I did look it up, The Power of Body Language.
Yeah.
And you said a lot of people, women use a lot of words and stuff like that. One skill that I learned a long time ago is watching people's body language. And sometimes Jason's seen me do it because he's like, you say some weird shit to people. And I said, I usually want to see their reaction. Yeah. Because you can tell a lot about people by the way they react, micro expressions, little flinches, stuff like that. And I've always found that it really works good. Like Pete said, be curious. I always watch how people are interacting with other people. And you could find out a lot of people are fake.
Yep.
And especially in the business world.
Especially like when you're around people who really care about you, then you understand that, hey, they're kind of acting weird and I can't put my finger on it. It's those little micro expressions that you're like, yeah, they're not for me. But when you're not around people who are actually for you, it's a lot harder because they're not consistent.
It's a practice thing. Yeah, you have to interact.
When you're winning, everybody likes to be around a winner.
Yeah.
When you're losing, see how many people are around you when you're losing.
Yeah. But I do have a really important question that came to me and something I've been thinking about. So in our world, people have high highs in life and low lows based on their success and failure. But then the question is, how do you guys really define success? And why aren't you upset when you fail?
I'll take this one first. You know what? Honestly, I think success is
what?
Not going to work one day, sleeping in the morning till 8 o'clock, then get up and moseying on to work and go to something I built. I think that's success. The money is a byproduct of doing something you love. Steve Jobs said that. But freedom and time is the one thing you cannot buy. So most people have it backwards. They sit there and they chase a dollar. And you know that movie with Adam Sandler, Click? When he has remote control, click, click, click. Then he realizes one day he clicked through his whole life. I'm getting goosebumps. And his dad dies. His kids are grown. He's missed all the memories.
Yeah.
Okay, if I could redo it again, I had to work a lot, and so did you, just to basically live. I wish I would have been more successful faster so I could have did more stuff with my kids and spent more time away from work, because I've been in Garrett Auto and Trucks building since 1995. I spent more of my life in that building than out of that building. So having freedom to maybe do the podcast in the middle of the day or come here or go there, I think that's success personally. Don't get me wrong. Having money to pay my bills and buy cool shit, Cybertruck, because Shane had one. Yes, that's great. But the money is a byproduct of something of doing something you love.
So I have a couple of interesting takes on this. Fundamentally, I will say, because I have some of this too, but fundamentally, where I'm coming from, I felt so driven and so not liking how my stuff went. My entire goal was to have kids, you guys have the tools you need to work without me and they have a wife that's happy to, like happy. Like I always say when we get in arguments, I've said this before with Lisa, I'm like, you're wrong. You're fucking wrong. This is not, what you said is not right. I win. This is, but you're upset. So even though I don't think you're right about this argument, I didn't grow up to get a wife and get married and have a family so she's unhappy, right? So I would be like, all right, so even if I don't agree with this argument, I still want to figure out how we can not get her upset, right? Even whether it's emotional driven or not, like we agree, women are more emotional. I'm super logical. So I just want a wife that's happy with me mostly, right? And it's not always going to be. And I just want you guys to be able to be productive and happy and healthy and not need me. So when I first had you guys, I was never scared of death. I told you this. I was terrified of dying because I had you first. I'm like, I just have so much to give her. I'm now, and again, I knock on wood because I don't want to die. But if I died tomorrow, I am completely happy knowing that you guys will be awesome. Like, you don't need me anymore. Could you use me? Sure. Could I give you advice? Sure. But you don't need me. So that was kind of my approach. Now, on the other hand, being a business owner, money is just, it's kind of like, I hate to quote him, but the one thing that Andrew Tate says that I agree with is it's just a spreadsheet. Money is just a spreadsheet. Money is a tool. Like, you can only have so much of this. So I don't really give a shit about money. Yeah. Like the banks are happy to screw you over, break the rules. I've never filed bankruptcy. I've never not paid a bill. But at the end of the day, if I don't care. It's a game, right? So yeah, I make money. I have fun. I think I have more fun in the game than I do accumulating the money, right? Because I keep taking risks. So, but it is the thing that I can do whatever I want. Not that I don't work really hard and I probably rob myself of some time. But if I have to right now, like you setting this up to always be here at the podcast, we didn't seem to do lunch, but somehow I'm always at the podcast, right? So I can do those things.
Now it's on both of us too,
right? And I have the flexibility. So it's more like what he said, but really, I care. I know it seems bad, but I don't care about myself so much. I really more care about what you guys will be doing. Even when I'm gone, you taking care of mom and how you're interacting or having the time, right? So
But also, you could kind of argue that thought process is selfish, and so we kind of had this conversation
selfish.
here.
I've said that.
I've told you, and I only say this because like we all are constantly thinking about ourselves. We just can't help it. We're the only ones who own this brain, but the intentions of why we're being selfish is what really matters. So I was telling you, I was like, I really want to help you with these things, and honestly, it's really selfish because then it just makes my life easier.
Right.
It's not easy in the moment.
Right. But you and I are the most alike. Like, we've come to that conclusion in the family.
I think we've all kind of come to that conclusion. It's just like sometimes, again, we lie to ourselves because we want to feed ourselves lies as to why we can go and do things that aren't serving us.
But I look at you as a hybrid, and you look at your kids the same way. You're a hybrid. You guys are a hybrid of me and mom, and I think a better version in a lot of ways. Yeah. So the fact that we could somehow, I'm still blessed. I don't know how, and you do the same thing. How do we get you guys to agree with what we were saying? When I said those, this is the first time you said that. When I said, one day you'll understand, but right now you're just going to have to do what I say. Why? It worked. Like, I don't know how.
Consistency. We never changed our message.
And that's literally the root of...
we never changed our message.
Right.
I've never changed.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, you got to realize something. Your dad just basically said he came from nothing, no fault of, he was a product of his environment, but you woke up one day and said, I could either shoot myself or I could be successful. Now, I was a number 14 horse in a 9-horse race.
It's fair.
Okay? You guys you got to admit, the group we hang around, you're like, he's going to fucking prison.
I thought you were, one thing is I always said you were smarter than you pretended.
Yeah, you fucking called me out because I used to trick all these fucking people.
Yeah. He was like, I'm special ed. No, you're just fucking lazy. I told him that. I said, you're fucking lazy. You want everybody to think that you're special ed, so you don't have to do anything. I remember saying that more than once.
That actual thought process, it could have been you as a kid lying to yourself to feed into what people were telling you.
No, I pretty much was way smarter than everybody else who used to fucking play him. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, he did what he wanted. He knew that it was the easiest path in school to be in the sped class.
I'm very calculated.
You're such a dick.
I was. But we're self-made.
Yeah.
100%. Nobody gave me anything. I freaking worked for everything. You were there.
And I've reshuffled more than once. I've went from money to broke to money to broke. I've reshuffled like 4 times.
Yeah. I didn't start to be successful until I was completely 100% on my own because Steve, my best friend, was the kind of guy that he was okay making 80 grand a year. I don't know why you're always moving the goalpost. You're always fucking on me about making more money. You're always wanting to do this. Now you want a website. It's like, why can't you just be happy? When I ended up buying him out of the business.
His life, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And after I he paid him out of the businesses and stuff like that, that's when I really turned it on. And that's when I started taking risks, and that's where everything kind of blew up.
And to be fair, you got to give him a lot of credit for recognizing that and letting you. You know how many people would be too selfish to let you take over that company?
Well, kind of had no choice.
Because you built it, but you did build it up beforehand. Like you showed him the way. He just was smart enough to know that that wasn't him.
Yeah.
And that if he partnered with you, he could do what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And he was older.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to give him credit.
I'm grateful for his opportunity, for sure.
Seeing that and understanding that I'm not you. It's no different than me being a better version of it. He saw you in the business format as a hybrid of like he did provide an opportunity and you took it and ran with it and you made it way better.
Yeah, statistically, the second generation of a business usually fails. The third generation is doomed. I'm the third
if you
generation.
were his son, he would have failed.
Yeah.
You can't. You are a different person than him.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to sit there and scream and yell at each other and then be like, all right, it's lunchtime, let's go to lunch. The guys would be like, what the hell? They just almost got in a fist fight.
Yeah.
But, we kind of understood each other. My motive was always to make the shop better.
Yeah. And we've had arguments like that and been over.
Yeah.
I have arguments like that all the time.
Well,
yeah, I mean, but,
You're
the
annoying
thing
as
is,
hell.
what being a man is like, if you respect, there's one very, 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 and your dad can attest to this, few people I listen to their advice. I don't listen, I'm going to sound arrogant, I don't listen to anybody's advice that's fucking less successful than me.
Yep.
Why do I want to listen to a fucking broke guy telling me about money?
Right,
Well, if you start
Okay.
doing what he's doing, you'll end up where he is.
Exactly.
It's
So
a
I don't
habit.
take very, I take, your dad's one of the people, like, he'll say something, I'll be like, fucking asshole. He's right, though. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. And I've said shit to you, you're like, huh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, but
you got to be honest.
You got to be honest, but there's not a lot of people that will say that. And you
No.
you
And
know.
also, there's most people are not for you, and everyone is willing to give you advice. It's why every time you make a post out there when your intention is to consult people, but all they're hearing is Kevin is so mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want what I have? You should probably, no matter how much you like me, you should.
We got to do some crazy shit.
Like
that?
what?
We got to get in the crazy shit.
Like
What stories?
We got so many. How about the time that your brother?
Or how about we save it for another podcast? Because I feel like we're really on a roll and doing fun, interesting. Okay.
He's the craziest one of the whole group.
All right. Well, do you have any questions for us then?
Live here. It's not like it's coming up out of state or something.
Yeah. Sorry.
I got a quick one really quick.
Yeah.
There is another influencer, and I guess I call myself an influencer on social media that
Sell out.
pretty much gives good advice, except for this one thing he said was fucking monumentally stupid. He says that Dave Ramsey gives bad financial advice. And he said, let me explain. I understand that's his shtick. He basically said that if you owe on a credit card, you should make the minimum payment on your credit card, but you should take the money and invest it in the stock market.
What?
He says this. So I go on there and I say, you're 100% wrong. You're pretty much a dumbass. You don't do that. And I broke down the numbers that it would actually cost you more money to invest than it would you pay your credit card off.
She knows that business. So.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So yeah, duh. And boy, I get a lot of backlash.
You did or didn't?
I did. Oh fuck yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But what I said was completely logical. I broke it down. And that was the second time I went after that guy. And the first time, Jason's like, man, you laid that out so logical. All he could say, he kicked me out of the group and he told everybody that I was lying and trying to scam everybody, that I was a new consultant and I was trying to hustle everybody or scam everybody and changing the rules and trying to get money from them.
Mm-hmm. What'd you ask for? There's no money.
There's no money. I said, and he said, I have screenshots. I said, fucking post them.
Yeah.
Post all the fucking screenshots.
Someone
you're
who
full
is
of shit.
fake is going to push out people who are real because it immediately exposes what the hell
It was
they're doing.
amazing.
Like-
And my point is like, that guy had to go to the lengths of all that to basically keep himself from looking like a fraud.
Yeah. He would have lost everything. He had too much to lose.
Yeah.
And what people should realize is like, we're not always right all the time, but being able to come and say like, oh, actually I did the research and you're right is I mean,
There's
it's
another
hard
thing,
to do,
yeah.
but it's important because we don't know everything all the time.
I agree with that. And there's another thing with success is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought, and I told these guys on social media, I was arguing, I go, I could shut off my social media, shut off the light, my podcast studio, and never open the door again. It would not change my fucking life a bit.
Yeah.
So therefore, I could say what I want and be completely truthful. Now,
Yeah.
you, on the other hand,
And you work for yourself. You're uncancelable if you don't actually care what people are saying about you.
yeah, you are.
Well,
too.
that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
I just, if you're going to say it, you better own it.
And also, I firmly believe that God will provide for you if as long as you believe in him and his truth. So and I've had this happen to me where I had a lot to lose and I did lose it, but I never wavered in the truth and I found something else or it found me. I've honestly never, I've interviewed for one job and I actually didn't even really want it, but the opportunities find you if you create a good network and you're good to people. You reap what you sow.
Here's the funny part of the podcast we talk about it. When the vaccination came out, I knew in my heart there was no fucking way I was getting it. There was no way my kids were getting it. Not
literally over all of our dead bodies.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, it was just like that was just like a hard no, not happening.
And people were like, "Well, if it was your job," it's the same with the kid thing. They said, "Well, if it was your job or you were," and I said, "No." I go, "I would sacrifice a job." Well, that's easy for you to say, but I think people that actually know me know what I actually would have fucking.
Oh, I would have too.
Like 100%.
Oh, 100%.
And I would have made you guys do the same thing.
I actually went to my boss and thankfully she was on board with this, but I mean, it could have contributed to our eventual demise. And I was like, I will, if you or anyone here asks me to get vaccinated, I will walk out the door. And I didn't even do that to be mean. It's just like, I value my body and my long-term health over the benefit short-term of the money I get from your job. And I have no doubt that I can go to somebody else who is, I have a lot of business owners around me because I've I've born into that and cultivated that myself, that I could go get a job and scrape by and make money doing whatever it is I have to do. And maybe I'm learning an important lesson while doing so. Right. Something I otherwise never would have learned.
Plus, when you're young, and I tell you the guys this all the time,
make your mistakes.
Fuck up all you want.
Yeah.
Like you're young, you can redo it, redo it. Once you have kids, it's a little tougher, but you can still do it.
It's still true in all of life, especially when you're focusing on success as freedom. So if you keep that in mind and you start paying attention to what really gives you freedom, it's not material things. And when, like, a lot of people just are kind of stuck in their own revolving debt because they don't actually have their eyes on the end prize. They don't have the right habits in place to help them subconsciously make good decisions. You know how important the subconscious mind is.
Yeah, and the other thing,
formed by conscious thought.
The other thing of freedom is having your shit paid for so you don't owe the bank.
Yeah.
My house is modest. I could buy $1 million house tomorrow and move into it. Why?
Well, you sat in that house in Commerce longer than you had to, way longer.
Yeah, because it was almost paid for.
Right.
My house now is going to be paid for.
Right.
Like, my thing is freedom. My house is paid for. I'm 54 years old. My cabin's paid for. I'm 54 years old. That's what I call success.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that money in and sending it to the bank.
Right.
And it takes time, and it's a choice that you chose every single day. There might have been some days that you failed and made a more emotional decision that didn't lead to freedom, but eventually you would fix that or read more about it. Like, why am I making this mistake? You have always been one to research. I've gotten so many book recommendations from you, and like, again, like when we meet people or read books, we don't always agree with everything in there, but there's something valuable to be taken from everyone.
Do you know why everybody in his company have brand new fucking diesel trucks?
Because he can.
No, because he gets
tax
the tax. Every time the accountant's like, right? You call me up, you go, accountant says if I buy this truck, I get like a $67,000 write-off or whatever it is, you know? And so he's buying trucks and he's having a hard time. Like they're driving brand new trucks because he's got it so dialed in and so tight, and he's trying to get rid of the profit of the companies of all the hard work you put in ahead of time. He's got it.
Why give it to the IRS or give a guy I care about a truck?
Right. At least incentivize your employee.
Yeah.
Give a company the money, not the government.
Yeah, especially when the IRS basically wastes our money and is full of people who really don't care about you.
I agree with that. And use our money as against us. You know, I agree.
Why does government have so many trucks? It's because he's smart. It actually saves them money, or at least keeps it out of the government's hands.
But again, it's not like I mean, I'm sure you actually do, but you also have, I'm sure, a CPA that helps you keep up on the laws. And then you also do your own research.
Another lesson.
So you can challenge the people around you because we don't know everything.
Well, you went from a joke of accountant to a real accountant like only a few years ago.
Yeah, I told you that story.
Yeah.
She calls me the 2 nights before my taxes are due, and I'm thinking I owe 10 grand. And that's when I really didn't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out. And she's like, I made a little mistake. And I used your dad's line, and I said, what's that? She's like, I put a zero where I shouldn't have, and you owe like $46,000. And it sounded like I had fucking Tourette's. Remember you in the bank that time they took the ACH back from you?
Yeah, 100 grand.
You're like, I thought I had Tourette's. I'm like, you know, and I said to her, and I was mean, as you all know. I went right for the jugular. I said, you know what? I can't even fucking talk to you. I started screaming, and Marilyn's like, hang up the phone. And the next morning she called and she said, I'm so sorry I didn't sleep. And I said, I was hoping you fucking died last night. And I said, you're fucking fired. And Marilyn's like, I said, man, we just paid off the credit line at the shop, and I got to go borrow the fucking money again. So all the hard work I did this year, I got to go borrow it, give it back to the bank. So my freedom just got taken like that because of incompetence. So that's when I hired my new accountant, and she went through my tax returns for 3 years. That year, she redid it. I got 50 grand back because she made that big mistake in taxes. Guess what that prompted? An IRS audit.
Yeah.
Fucking here comes IRS.
Yeah.
Tell him why you're not allowed to have a Corvette, but Elon can drive a fucking, anything he wants. Like when they said that you were an investor versus a.
Oh, yes.
This is crazy. They make shit up.
So basically, a car, the guidelines of the IRS is it has to be a necessity, and it has to be, I forget the other word they use. And I said to my accountant, well, wait a second. How can these, it has to be useful in a necessity for your business. I said, well, how can these lawyers and all these people have Mercedes and stuff? She said, basically, you live in a different set of rules than they do. So, you talk section 179 and stuff like that.
And they said, how can you run all your businesses? You had 3 at the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tell them that.
So the IRS comes and so general practice is they don't have you meet with the IRS as a business owner.
Right.
Well, especially me, like, come on. It'd be just as bad as you.
Right.
But basically they said, well, we don't understand how he has 2 businesses. And they asked Jim, they said, well, is he here? Because how can he work here and work at his other company? And I want to see his paychecks, because how many hours is he punching in here and punching in at the other place? My accountant's like, he doesn't fucking punch in. He owns 2 companies. And she knows my thing. I come here in the morning, usually till noon. I get here at 7. I work till noon, and I go to Garrett's the other half of the day. So, and then, as we all know, business owners never stop working.
No, at home you're working.
I'm working at night. Me and Marilyn will be in the computer doing stuff till 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But they don't get that because they go to a little office. They make people's life miserable for 40 hours.
But they want to call him an investor.
Yeah.
Not an owner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot that part.
An investor has a different set of tax rules. So they wanted to fucking hit him as an investment tax rules.
Yeah.
That's a total bullshit move by a rookie.
I forgot about all
when
that.
They hired all those fucking. No, I never forgot that because that shit. That's no different than weaponizing different rules from different points.
Yeah.
And you gave the good example. He said, well, how do these rich fucking people do it? And like your accountant said, well, they can afford to. Because they're banking on the fact, and you actually were able to afford to defend yourself, but they're banking on the fact nobody's going to spend the money to fight the IRS.
Yeah,
that's what they're banking on.
It cost me, I think, 10 grand or 15 grand.
Wow.
Just for that. And guess what ended up coming out of that audit? Everything was in order. We got a letter, not even a call back. We got a letter in the mail. Audits is satisfied.
Wow.
No.
That's
talk about
crazy.
making me sick.
He was nervous. I got calls every other day from him.
Nobody likes the IRS. It scares the shit out of me, the IRS. But right now, there's like a 6 to 8 month window where if you send them right now, we got one the other day, basically said you messed up on this tax, and my accountant sent it back, and that was last year, and we just got it back again that we still haven't received it.
Right.
Because there's so many different parts of the IRS.
And you know why your mom's so
And
worried
they
about
don't all
the IRS?
talk to each other either.
No.
Do you know why your mother is so definitely afraid of the IRS? Because her mother used to work for the IRS.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Barbara
I
used to
didn't know
work for the
that.
IRS. Yeah, and your mom was like, the stories I hear and the stuff. So your mother, your grandmother had your mother terrified.
I don't like
of
them.
The IRS.
They scare the shit out of me. I don't know about you because it's like once you get tangled up and once you get on the radar, I don't think you're getting out.
Well, I'm one of those things that it bothers me, but like the way I am is I just wait till the fight's there. And
if they have the resources to research into these people who are really not doing anything wrong, then they should also be able to file my own taxes. If they're so worried about it, why don't they do it?
Well, think about this.
They have all the information. That's how they know to mail you a letter to say you didn't file it right, because I already fucking have it.
Well, think about this. Let's just roll it backwards a little bit.
I obviously don't want them to do my taxes, but it's just annoying.
Well, let's roll it back a little bit. When that big bailout happened with GM, and they fucked over LeBaron, his company, right? They owed, the GM owed them millions of dollars. All the small companies got screwed, right? Especially the conservative companies. The biggest dealership was right there in Farmington. What was it called? The GM dealership that they shut down.
Bob Sachs?
Yeah, the one right there, Rob Sellers, whatever one was there. It was conservative owned, one of the top performing GM dealerships in the whole U.S. And when they decided to cut, when the government was involved and they were bailing out GM and they were deciding to cut dealers, why was that dealership shut down when it was one of the highest performing dealerships? So like it's all this is politically driven.
Everything is fake and gay.
There you go.
It is.
You have to. one thing I tell all the people, Jason sits there, I say, you have to have a good accountant. You have to pay your taxes. You have to follow the law.
Cover your ass.
Yeah.
Cover your ass. That way you will obviously do what you can to save money, but follow the rules and pay your taxes because you do not want to get on that radar.
And that is also it's in the Bible. God says, or Jesus says, he's like, pay what's due to man, and then pay to God what is paid to him. You know, we're not taxes. It's not at all the point, but there are laws out there and things and loopholes and that are in the tax code. And then, no, actually, you're just trying to evade taxes. No, actually, I'm using the laws to my benefit, as you should too.
Yeah, it's true. The rich
do your own research.
The rich can get away with whatever they want.
Yeah, like in that one thing, and I'll be done, is Trump, when Hillary Clinton's like, you didn't pay your taxes. He's like, I follow the same laws all your donors follow.
Yeah.
She's like,
change the law if you don't like it.
Change the law if you don't like it.
No, that's the Dave Chappelle skit. He talks about that. He was a gangster when he admitted that he wasn't paying any taxes, and he says, if you know why haven't you stopped your donors from doing the same thing?
And you know, when people say you didn't pay any taxes, well, they don't. They talk about him personally, but that guy pays more taxes than look at Elon.
And employs so many people. Yeah, what was his tax check? $1 billion. $1
billion.
Yeah.
You know, they're like he doesn't pay he doesn't pay his fair share.
Yeah.
$1 billion. Do you know? Like I looked up, what was it? $1 trillion. What was his package they talked about? You know,
Yeah.
We looked it up. It was going to be like 1,367 40 by 30 pole barns stacked floor to bottom with $100 bills. Still wouldn't probably house that much money.
Right.
That
But I didn't read it, but I'm sure the performance he has to hit's a huge
You're
number.
talking 999,000 freaking robo-taxis. I read it. It's freaking
it's
insane.
insane.
But
So-
you know, he's like, yeah, I'm good.
But here's the thing: even if he doesn't hit it, that publicity, he's also brilliant. That the publicity of that statement, and he got his last bonus. They took it away from him again illegally. But just the publicity and the confidence of that statement's insane.
He's just next level. I mean, anybody hates Tesla cars, I get it because they're just uneducated, and I was one of them. But the creature comforts alone they think about is amazing.
I still hate
Love
it,
my
so you'll
truck.
have to educate me so
I
I can
put
learn
my
more.
truck in camp mode last night so I could listen to the radio in the barn. You know, this has speakers underneath, and it's in camp mode. Marilyn officer, she goes, "There's a fucking campfire on the screen because it's in camp mode."
I didn't realize camp mode lets you play the music outside.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
You go to camp mode, then you go to the boom box, and you say outside.
Melissa, they just released a thing that the FSD 14 were like 12 something or 13 something. He just said in Auden, the student of mine who's a nerd like me, sent me this message. Thanks, Auden. If you see this, he watches all these podcasts. He says that version 14.2 is coming out, slow rolling. The trucks with the front cameras and the bumper first, so the trucks in the Model Ys, right? And it says it's going to be so good you won't believe it. In 14.4, it'll be almost sentient, meaning that, you know, the little glitches that the truck is just like when it wouldn't pull out when it was stacked out when we were getting off the expressway a little bit. It was cautious to pull out. He's basically saying that we're almost to the full auto driving. And if you look at the difference in it now than when it first came out, you didn't even have to experience all the brake grabbing and shit that we had.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. It's actually a lot of why I don't like it.
Massively different. You got to admit, like we don't even think about it now.
As much as I hated the Teslas to begin with, I've come a long way.
Yeah. But here's from a
But I get motion sick, so why would I like a vehicle that makes me really sick?
But when you look out the window, you're fine. But here's the thing: from a technical standpoint, me being an engineer type person, and you work on the things. When you at a car, I just think if there's a fire in there, it's wearing down the parts, metal on metal. Things get sloppy. All the cars I've had, I just enjoy. Unfortunately, unenjoy the fact that they degrade, right? But being a guy and understanding the electric and the motors and stuff. There's so far less moving parts to wear out
true.
in
That's
a car.
Less than 20,000 parts in the thing, where another one's over 25,000.
Right. And hold on, the drive box is designed for 1 million miles. You over-engineered it, right?
Yeah.
The motors can be replaced. They're expensive, but there's only a couple motors, a gearbox, some struts. Like, it is so much different. And there's a feedback sensor for everything. He even measures vibration. They know when the thing's vibrating. Right. Yeah. So like I told him the other day, they had a defective 2 tires, was driving smooth as perfect. Then we started to vibrate a little bit. And I got the feeling like a car, like, oh shit, like it's starting to get. So I went back in, just 2 more defective tires. These tires had some defective foam, no big deal. They gave them to me for free. So I'm 40,000 miles in. I don't even have to put tires on it, which would have cost me $2,000. But the best part is it drives like brand new with 40,000 miles on it. The thing is so able to just stay new and work and motors don't degrade. So engines start to sputter, the air cleaners get dirty, they hesitate, right? All these things. It doesn't matter. Other than the battery percentage being lower over time, not handling as much battery power, it will always accelerate the same. It will always stop the same. It will always drive the same. You keep the struts in order, the few things that you're going to maintain, the thing is always going to perform the same. It will feel new. Like there's something about that in my mind that's amazing about the Teslas.
So yeah, that's the part that I don't really think about. I don't know a lot about vehicles, and I also don't really know a lot about electricity, and it's something I want to learn more about because the reasons I don't like the Tesla is, one, I hate the idea that AI is driving me around everywhere, and I'm always of the mindset that I don't want something else to cause me to fail. I want it to be my own fault because then I feel more in control. It's an illusion. Two, I don't like the fact that you can just run out of gas or run out of energy, and then you actually have to like get a tow truck. It's like much more. It's a lot harder to get that vehicle now home, and we all know my history. I do it all the time. So
Yeah, that's a good point. You've never ever ran yours out of battery.
No.
This
Which
fun
again,
guy used to
it's
run out of
his
gas
too.
all the
Yeah.
time. 10
Yeah,
o'clock at night. Hey, where you at? I was going home.
And then it's all of our fault.
Yeah.
It's never his.
Melissa ran the car.
Really? You drove the car 45 minutes to the studio. You didn't know that it was under 50
I have
miles?
2 points. 2 points.
Hang on. I was actually... Go ahead.
So 2 points. First of all, I've also already smashed that fucking truck twice. No
Really?
scratches. Smash it. On the way out of charging up north.
Weird flex, but okay.
I you know the four-wheel turn? I turned so hard, it clipped the back end on the fucking doorway in the garage. Put paint on it, not a scratch. And when I rented that mower and we unhooked the trailer and the guy ran over and hurried up and took the mower off before it was fully unhooked, it fucking speared the back of speared the shit out of it. I showed you the video. I mean, it speared it.
Yeah.
Not a scratch. Those are 2 insurance claims or repairs or dealing with the typical dented tailgate that most truck owners have that I don't have to deal with. Okay. So that's absolutely incredible. And the other thing is when I get in the Model 3, everything's the same. All my profile moves that car.
Isn't that crazy? Your radio.
Yeah, everything.
I was listening to a song and got Marilyn's car the other day. The same song started playing in her car.
Yeah.
She's like, that's so fucked up.
That's crazy.
Old Amish Marilyn drives a freaking Tesla
He's
now.
on 3 now, by the way. His son's got a Model 3. She's got a Model X. He's got
Embrace
a
it,
Cybertruck.
Melissa. Embrace it.
I know.
John
I know,
has a
but
Y, right?
John has a Y and an X.
Oh, he's got an X now
Jordan's
too?
got an X.
I'm also...
holy shit. Yeah, so that's...
I'm also a little salty that
I
I
should
have...
have gotten the referral fees. Damn it. How did I not
Oh,
give you
we
the
all
code?
whore each other out on that.
I'm also a little salty that I have a vehicle that... Like eventually, you know this. At the moment you drive a vehicle off the lot, it immediately degrades, and it's constantly degrading, and really not in relationship to like what your loan is. Now, I have a great interest rate, and I actually did really good on buying my car, but I did not even buy it new. It was like a 3-year-old vehicle, but I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, they hold their value a lot more.
Here's why.
Well, no, but hang on. Not their value dollar-wise, but their value to the person who bought it. So I love my car.
Right.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's true.
But eventually I will be coming to a repair shop because it's just things will start failing. And that's something you pointed out to me. That's a different kind of value,
yeah.
that is on par with success is freedom.
Here's the crazy thing about the electric cars. They're dropping in value because they are not breaking, and there's a lot of them. That's why they're dropping in value. You can go get a fucking $20,000 Model 3 that drives pretty much
that's what supply and demand is. Inflation is actually fake, and I'll probably get a lot of flack for that because we're building shitty products that really there's no value to it. So you have to buy more of it. So then they're just going to create more that's full of plastic. There's a high personal value to these vehicles because they last forever.
Right.
So there's a higher supply of them, therefore less demand.
Right. Because
and
there's
it's
going to
really that's true capitalism at its finest.
Kids now, I'm telling you, kids are just like, man, I got to get a new car and I just don't have a lot of money. I'm like, get the Model 3 that's a 2020 or a 29. Maybe they got to charge a little more often, but the car drives great. It lasts great. It still works.
$20,000.
Yeah, for under $20,000. I mean, you can even less now. I mean, the more that we're buying these new cars and the newer versions.
Yeah.
Again, it reminds me of Star Wars. You walk around and everything looks all dirty, and they're in the desert, but it's super high tech and they work. And they have AI. They talk to each other. They have the consoles. It is like fucking Star Wars now.
It's amazing the hate. You go into Cybertruck groups, and there are actually people that join them groups just to be assholes.
To be hateful. They have bots that do it. They literally just
it's crazy.
Just like the political bots that just say negative things on purpose. It's the same thing they're literally trying to disparage.
And just so many lemmings who don't actually think about what they're saying and they don't really care, so they just put it out there.
You know what
It's
somebody did
amazing.
once? Somebody took a Cybertruck and they edited the video to make it look all rusty. And I know they did it with AI. So I went in there and I took AI and I said, make it shiny again. And I posted it. They're fixed. I can use AI too.
I did see that. That was
I
hilarious.
was like, there you go, all fixed.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no complaints. The only thing I think sucks on that truck and they failed miserably is the trailer hitch
You told me
cover.
that. I have a solution.
Leave it off.
I just fucking leave the
That's
hitching.
against Elon law.
I don't give a shit. It's such a negligible. It's such a negligible
Oh my
loss in battery.
gosh.
I mean, we just drove to fucking New Hampshire with the hitching. It didn't matter.
You do not trespass on Elon. You put the cover back
I'm not
on.
putting the cover on. That cover is already lost.
Oh, you're the kind of guy who drives around with the fucking tonneau cover up too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
fuck.
okay. We're
Ridiculous. We're degrading.
this was awesome. Thank you so much for the impromptu joining of our podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Way more than 30 minutes, but we
Jason's
covered
over there.
Yeah.
He's like, please stop
We
that. This
behave
is
too.
devolving.
There's so much shit I want to go over. Like the time that 15 guys busted in your house and tried to beat our asses.
They tried.
Like it was.
Well, I would actually love
Next
to do
one.
a podcast like
Yeah.
that, and then we should bring Lincoln in that one because he'll know stories you've told him, or he can, that would be fun.
Some of our stories are so
They're not believable.
they're unbelievable. You have to actually I back up his stories. He backs up mine. Like, why would he lie or why would I lie for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's definitely crazy.
Yeah.
Another reason I want to bring Brian Murray on and plus him.
I know, I have a list.
I had a dog that was so well trained and so incredible that if you didn't have witnesses that actually acknowledged it,
Mm-hmm.
that you would not believe me. So I don't. You know, I said I don't talk about Capone because if I told them what the dog could do, they'd think I was crazy. Like they think I was just an old guy making shit up.
Well, you can prove it to again with your new dog Ragnar, and we'll do
Ragnar's incredible.
We'll do a podcast. We'll do a podcast on dog training another time. But thank you guys so much for joining us.